Hey guys, Mike the Cop, and do you remember in the academy, if you're a police officer, where you felt like you were in the best shape of your life? All right, well, maybe not everybody. For the life of me, I don't understand why, at least most states that I'm aware of, have a physical fitness standard to get into the academy and to get hired into a police department, but that same standard isn't required ongoing through the career. In Michigan, we have the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards, and we are required to pass push-ups, sit-ups, vertical jump, and a half-mile shuttle run. To get into the academy requires a certain minimum level of score based on your age, and then to graduate the academy requires a certain minimum score. In addition to that, many departments have their own physical fitness exam that you have to take in order to get hired at that department that may be the same or harder, more difficult than the state level. But the state of Michigan does not require that those physical fitness standards are continued to be met, whether it's on a yearly or biannual basis or whatever. I think that's a bad idea. Some departments do have a physical fitness standard test that they put on every so often that will incentivize their officers to get extra time off or to get a little bit added onto their salary, and I think that's at least a great step to do. I didn't say did I? No. But it's not enough. This video is about encouraging us as police officers, those that are interested in being police officers, or those that are standing by watching police officers, that some of you are going like, should they really be a police officer? To be better physically prepared for this job. And in a lot of ways, it is related to mental preparation too, because the two really can't be separated. Now, I'm not saying you need to be into bodybuilding like Arnold Schwarzenegger in his heyday. I'm not saying you need to have so few Weight Watcher points that you look like Christian Bale in The Machinist. And I'm not saying that all of your tactical training needs to constantly look like a Rocky IV training montage. What's that? You don't think Rocky is one of the greatest movies of all time? You take that back. What I am saying is that we should all be striving for a better level of physical and mental preparedness than where we are now, because we need that for ourselves and for others that we're serving. And we should hold ourselves to a higher standard in this profession, even if no one else is holding us to it. Let me be really clear. I am not making this video because I view myself as God's gift to policing, to physical fitness, to combatives training, but rather this is born out of a desire to encourage us to all be better, to all be taking the right steps, and out of lessons that I have learned, because I have not always been striving to be very healthy or fit or ready for those combative tactical situations. I have not always taken these things as seriously as I ought to. Also, while it's fairly easy for most people to recognize that guy or that girl who you are thinking, wow, geez, they should really take care of themselves if they're going to be doing this job, I don't think that those same people should be just automatically discounted as completely useless and not credited for where they have been good in their jobs, whether that's in their leadership skills, whether that's in their knowledge of the law, whether that's in their application of common sense for street level cops and how they've treated other people. I don't want to take away from that, but in all honesty, that can't be at the expense of neglecting other important areas, a critical area of our physical and mental preparedness for the job. We can't neglect it because we never know the moment we're going to be called upon for the fight of our lives, and we want to be ready. Someone else is going to be depending on you. Now, I'm a big believer in individual freedom. So on your own, if you want to decide that you want to be big enough to have your own gravitational pull, so be it. Have at it. But if you decide to become a police officer, or if you are a police officer and that's happening, dial it back, because no one wants a jar of mayonnaise showing up as their backup. I need someone to show up that can get the job done. And I need to be that person for others. And like others, I've fallen into excuses. Oh, there's nothing else available but fast food on midnights.
Really? Come on, I just want my cheeseburger.
But let's be honest about our priorities. You can truly want to be better physically in this job, but you could also truly want pizza and beer a lot more. Love pizza and beer. And it's not that we're lying when we say we want to be healthier, we want to be in better shape, we want to be better prepared for tactical situations, combative situations, whether it's defensive or whether it's having to aggress someone to get them into cuffs. Whatever the situation is, the reality is that we act on what we prioritize higher. In other words, the proof is in the pudding. We have to take a step back to recognize what disciplines we need in our life and what is motivating us so that we rearrange those priorities the way that they need to be. Another excuse is time. I'm too busy. And hey, listen, cops are like every other person in the world. We have lives to live, and they can get busy. Sometimes the job itself keeps us so busy, we can use that as an excuse for why we're too tired or we have too much going on in order to actually put some priority behind taking care of ourselves. And that's, again, you have to dig deep and find the reason to be motivated to take those extra steps even when you're tired, even when you don't want to. And that's where that discipline and motivation come in. If you don't have that, you're not going to rearrange those priorities. Another one is that you can't afford it. And that's true. A lot of cops are strapped for cash because there's a lot of places in policing that just don't get paid very much to do the job that they're doing. But the reality is that push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, sprinting, all that stuff is all free. And maybe you know someone who does combatives training that's ahead of you where you would like to be, and ask them, hey, can you come hang out for an hour or two and teach me some things? Can we practice some things to stay sharp and to stay ready? No excuse is worth your life, is worth the life of the community you serve, is worth your partner's life. No excuse. So what things should motivate you? I just asked myself that question. First, myself. I should be motivated to take care of myself just as an inherent value. How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as valuable, as being a human? Then you should want to take care of yourself. You should want to go home at the end of your shift and do what is necessary to be prepared to do that. You should want to have the best quality of life that you can. Taking care of yourself mentally and physically is critical to that. Your family. Again, if you're not a cop and your family's okay, and maybe you're a cop and your family's okay with you, just letting yourself go and being unprepared and being a soup sandwich when you go to work, that's on you. So if your family's okay with that, but please step back and think about the fact that you should be motivated. If it's not just for yourself, it should be for your family. You should want to go home to them. You should want to be the best version of yourself you can possibly be for them. Because if you want to invest into their lives, you need to be here to do it. Your community. Hey, listen, you probably learned the law enforcement code of ethics when you were in the academy. You probably took an oath when you were sworn in at your department. And you're supposed to be serving in your community. And they need you. They need you to be the best you can possibly be. Again, I'm not asking for unrealistic expectations. The reality is we are like everyone else. Life is busy. And this is a job like any other job. But it's also a job unlike any other job in that component of being trained and ready all the time is present. So make sure that you take a look around when you get to work and see these people could need me in very serious ways, and I need to be ready for that. And lastly, your partners. Again, I told you I don't want a schlub showing up to be my backup. After I've had to have the car chase, have the foot chase, hop fences, and then I've had to fight for a minute, I don't want in that moment someone showing up that can't handle it. I need someone who I know is ready to give their all for me. I want to be that person for my partners. There is so much more we could say on this topic, but for now, I think this serves as a good framework to start a conversation and to encourage everyone to take some steps in their lives, to rearrange those priorities, and to break some of the stigma that exists out there and the perception about law enforcement. And let's be better. Let's hold ourselves to a high standard, and let's do something today that makes a difference. Good day.